Howdy peeps, hope you're doing well. It's been a little while since you've seen my mush. Thought I'd show it again, because why not? So there's a few comments from William Pollins, if I recall correctly. Look, there's only one thing. I don't mind people commenting. The only thing that I would ask is not bring religion into it or anything like that. You know, I know it's not like a hate speech or anything like that. I appreciate that people have their own ways of life, their own philosophies or whatever, ideologies, religions, whatever, right? That's fine. The only thing I would ask is that you keep them to yourselves. That's all I ask. One of the things William did say in all of that was, "I was sorry for your loss." And I'm like, well, don't be. I haven't lost anything. You know, I made the decision to walk out months ago, and I voted with my feet, and well, it's a decision that I don't regret in the slightest. Couple of things that kind of cement my thoughts on her, although there was plenty of, you know, the whole sort of red flag scene I'd said previously. Oh, there was red flags there. Well, you know what, the qualities I look for in a potential long-term partner. She didn't tick the boxes. She just didn't. You know, I'm not too sure as to whether to go in depth or not. You know, I mean, is there any point really? Not really. You know, it's like I'll just be picking over the bones, as it were. It's like, what's the point in that? You know. What I would sort of say is, from a red pill perspective, is this is something that I think some people might find it quite difficult to do, and it probably makes me come across as being quite cold. This is actually why I kind of said to her initially, you know, when she said, "Oh yeah, you're such a lovely guy" and all this, and I'm just like, my heart is cold, dead and black. Yeah, it kind of is. Kind of is. The reason why is because of the amount of times that I've gone through the pain of a relationship breakup. Now, not necessarily where I've been wronged or, you know, I did something that merited the end of the relationship or something like that. Just the actual emotional pain of it. I'm not a total callous bastard. At least not all the time. But you see, this is what I sort of have spoken about previously, whereas, you know, when you sort of getting into the whole philosophy, as it were, of men going their own way and the many different topics that we talk about, you know, she's not your girl, it's just your turn. Yeah, that's one of them. She never loved you, that's another one. Because these are all things that, unfortunately, they are negative things. They are. It's just something that a lot of us can relate to. You know, you sort of look back and you look at the way an ex might have behaved in a relationship. You know, might not have been totally honest. Might have consistently lied. Only little white lies, but as far as I'm concerned, as soon as you start lying, you're going down a slippery slope. It's not going to end well. It's not going to fly with someone with me. Now, one of the things that we hear a lot of women say is, "Oh, don't judge us on our past. You know, we've all had relationships." And it's like, yeah. But I think it also speaks masses if a woman is cheated on literally every single partner that they've had. You know, that is a red flag in itself. You know, it just shows lack of integrity. They have no morals or ethics. You know, it's not a good way to be. You know, I wouldn't want to, what's the term? I wouldn't want to sign a check for that one. You know what I mean? I couldn't get involved in, because there's always going to be that thing of, well, she's cheated on all the others. I'm not going to be any different, because that is who that person is. Yeah, looking at it from a first person perspective. That's who they are. That is what they do. That is how they behave. That is quite literally someone that is not compatible with my own morals and ethics. Hence, I wouldn't write a check against it. That's just how I am. Now, unfortunately, not unfortunately, it's not it's an unfortunate circumstance, but this is what feminism has done to women today, because they've obviously said, yeah, you should go out and be promiscuous, you should go out and you should sleep around and get as much peg D as you possibly can, and all well and good. Now, we also talk a lot about pair bonding within the sort of red pill philosophy sort of side of men, the manosphere, relationships, and that sort of a thing. Now, pair bonding is something that I did speak to that particular ex about, and she was trying to convince me that, oh yeah, well, it's a choice that we make whether we can pair bond. It depends how good we are and all of that. And I got this from medinstitute.org. I'll throw a link in the description if you guys are actually interested. I'm just going to read out the last paragraph, which reads, however, when an individual chooses to engage in casual sex, breaking bond after bond with each new sexual partner, the brain forms a new synaptic map of one-night stands. This pattern becomes the new normal for the individual. When and if the individual later desires to find a more permanent partner, the brain mapping will have to be overcome, making a permanent bond more difficult to achieve. Often the individual is not aware that the brain has adapted to the behavioural pattern, and she begins to think, that's just the way I am, further reinforcing the pattern. In conclusion, research on bonding continues to support previous research showing that the brain is strongly influenced by sexual behaviours. Dopamine pathways as well as oxytocin and vasopressin and other neural systems are important factors in the formulation of pair bonds. When a person engages in sexual behaviour, there are consequences above and beyond the possibility of unwanted pregnancy and STIs. Bonding with a sexual partner is one of those results. Like I said, I'll throw a link in the description for any of those that are interested in reading all of that. So, feminism yet again did its thing of lying to the women, and I'm sure because they're facts, so they're just being said to hurt our feelings. No, they're facts, scientific facts. That the more peg D you have by different partners, the less chance of pair bonding you have. So if you're trying to make a housewife out of a hoe, it ain't gonna happen. Because of the brain, how it works and everything else, it's just, and it is sad, don't get me wrong, but as we often say, there are consequences for our actions, and you can ignore reality, but you can't ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. That's what it comes down to. So all these women that are out throwing it about like it don't matter, they're going to be cat collectors later in life. That's just a harsh truth, And there's not only that, because that's just that side of it. There's also the psychological and emotional damage that it does to the individual, in particular women. It does seem to affect women more, and I'm not saying that because I'm just being sexist. It does seem to affect women more than it affects men. I dare say because women, generally speaking, are emotion based, where guys are more logic, reason. Their feelings and emotions, we're logic and reason. This is why you can't really argue with a woman if you're a guy, because you're going to be looking at all the logical points and not taking into account what they're feeling about it. That's pretty much what it comes down to. And thus you end up potentially both feeling somewhat dissatisfied that no one has actually achieved what they wanted to achieve by having an argument or disagreement. So yeah. And it is always worth asking, if you're the type to get involved in relationships and stuff like that, ask them. Then whatever number they tell you, multiply it by 2 or 3, then you might be close to the truth, because it comes down to that shame, and women don't like dealing with shame very well. So They will lie. They will naturally just lie because they don't want to take that accountability of their behaviour. Even though they have no one else to blame, because it is just solely down to them. And it's a sad state of affairs. Now, unfortunately, in some of these cases, or in fact, I'd argue in a lot of these cases, these women often do end up with several different several different kids from several different dads, and the psychological damage involved in that. If they've broken up, chances are there's going to be debt, and for the worst part, there's going to be attitude. And these are all the key qualities, the key factors of a low quality woman. They've got several kids by several fathers, they've got debt, they've got bad attitude, they've got psychological issues, and I'm not talking narcissistic, that borderline. I'm not even going on about that one. I'm not even going down that road. I'm just saying that he's going to have probably issues like anxiety and depression, I dare say. They're going to be two of the sort of factors. But, what do you want us to do? You're also empowered listening to feminists and how you need to do this, that and the third, and then, you get to your late 30s, early 40s, then what? You can't find a decent guy because of your own actions. And if you do find a decent guy, chances are they're not going to take you seriously. I mean, how what would you expect them to do? Especially, in terms of being promiscuous, for these women that have cheated on partners repeatedly in different relationships. There is nothing you can do or say that is going to make the next partner you get involved with think that, they're the one. They're the one that you're not going to cheat on. They're the one that you're not going to lie to. They're just not going to be that person. And what's worse is they're always going to have it in the back of their minds that it's not if they cheat, it's when they cheat. That's what it comes down to. And like I said, as far as the whole red pill philosophy and having a cold, dead, black heart is concerned, I think it is kind of the way forward for men. Because as soon as you start getting involved and then, you find situations arising, you can become trauma bonded in that aspect, which isn't good, because that's a psychological issue as well in itself. It's a psychological and emotional attachment to another person, which sometimes can be done enforceably by the other person. But that's going off into the land of the cluster bees, and I don't want to do that on this one. So thoughts, comments and opinions, feel free to jot them down. Thanks very much for listening, it's much appreciated. Remember, I'm all in this for the validation, so I need as many likes as I can possibly get. And loads of comments, loads of comments, because I need to be validated, because she never gave me a hug, she never apologised, so I'm really feeling it here, you know what I mean? Like, I'm really feeling it. I've missed out on such a catch. So, to the next one, stay cool, stay awesome, and peace out.